Hi guys, my name is Bate and today I'm back with a new video. Today we are going to talk about intermittent fasting. Like I shared last time, there are a few things I've been doing just to, just like a self-care thing. And I've been loving it so far. It's a good feeling to always feel better in your body, in your mind. It means a lot to me. So I started doing some workouts, some exercises. I changed my diet, and now like I mentioned in the last video, I introduced something else, which is intermittent fasting. So today I thought to share with you, I'm sure some of you who have been trying a few things here and there to lose their weight would really benefit from this. To me, it's really working. When it comes to intermittent fasting, it needs it needs consistency, it needs commitment. So if any of you is willing and ready to do this, I'm really sure it will work for you. Yeah, so intermittent fasting is not something new. It has been done and shared by so many people, but I just wanted to share my story and show you the progress of how it's working for me. Yeah, so I want to share some few things that I have learned that I think most of you would really benefit from them. Okay, first of all, for those who don't know intermittent fasting is where you introduce an eating plan where you eat during a specific time and fast for a certain number of hours. So it depends with you. Some people can fast for longer hours, especially people who are used to either intermittent fasting or fasting in churches. There are people who fast for very long hours, so this won't be a problem for them. Yeah, so that is it. In general, intermittent fasting is where you fast for a specific period of time and fast and eat for a specific period of time, which is a bit shorter compared to the time which you were fasting. Yeah, so how does fasting work? There are so many fasting plans. Some people fast for longer hours, some people fast for shorter hours, but most importantly is to make sure that your fasting window is enough for your body to burn fat. It is well known that the body begins to burn fat after 12 to 14 hours, depending on your metabolism rate. So me personally, my metabolism is a bit slow, so I think my body will start burning fat faster from 14 hours. I think that is what I like to do. So in my fasting hours, I usually add 2 more hours. Anyway, so when you're choosing the time to fast, make sure it is way over 12 after 12 hours. So most of the times, the well-known fasting period is 16 by 8 hours, where you fast for 16 hours and then you eat in the 8-hour window. We know a day has 24 hours. So in the 16 hours you fast, and in the 8 hours that is your eating window where you can eat anything. But I like to ensure that my food is balanced. I spread out my eating time well. You don't just eat because you have been fasting for 16 hours, now you start feasting. No, you make sure your food is balanced, and in the 8 window period, you make sure that you spread out your eating. You spread out the time which you eat in a proper way. For instance, me, I fast between 10 in the morning. No, I mean, I fast between 6 in the evening to 10 the next day. So when in the morning when it's 10, that is when I take my breakfast. And in my breakfast, I take, it depends. Like now, because I'm not taking milk, I'm not taking flour, and I'm not taking anything that has flour, and I'm not taking sugar, most of the time I tend to eat either beans, some tea or coffee without sugar, some hard-boiled eggs. Sometimes I incorporate a salad or a well-cooked vegetable. Yeah, so those are some of the things that I personally eat. And sometimes I include oatmeal. It depends. With time, I'll share with you some of the different breakfasts that I take. And then after that, I usually take my lunch around 2, and I make sure that my carbs, I really check on what I eat. I make sure my carbs are very little, and then I make sure I have protein and I have a well-balanced diet. I also include a lot of fruits and I drink a lot of water. Yeah, so my fasting window, what I started with and I'm still doing, is the 16/8 intermittent fasting. There are other people who incorporate other types of hours. For example, there is 18/6 where you fast for 18 hours and then you eat in the 6-hour window period. There's 20/4 people who fast for 20 hours, and then in the eating window, which is 4 hours, that is when they eat. Yeah, so it depends with what works for you. For me, because I'm starting it, I just started not so long ago. I want to do the 16/8 and then progressively add some more hours on which I will fast. So personally, I'm not really sure about 18/6. I feel like it's a very small progress. I feel like I will move from 16/8 to 20/4 and then 1 meal a day. Yeah, so there's this one that I want to talk about, the 1 meal a day. Most people do intermittent fasting refer to it as OMAD, where you only eat once a day. Meaning, for example, most people prefer eating when it's way after working hours, after you've done all the work and you've done everything and you've gone home and you just want to relax. So you want to ensure that you have a balanced diet, you have enough fruits, but do not overeat. Just make sure what you eat is enough to take you throughout the whole period until when the time comes for you to eat, which is the 1 meal a day. In most cases, I see people doing it in the evening. I preferably would eat in the evening after work, which is really good. So if you want to introduce intermittent fasting, do it progressively. Yeah. Other people do it for even longer hours, which is 24 hours, meaning the whole 24 hours, day and night, you don't eat anything. 36 hours, which is the whole day plus half a day. 48 hours, which is 2 days. 72 hours, which is 3 days. And other people go as far as fasting for 4 days. All this works, but personally, I prefer you do it progressively. Make sure it is not something you just introduce to your body from nowhere, just like that. It's very risky. It's not good. In fact, you should research before you do some of these things. I prefer you do it progressively. It is healthy and it's very advisable. Your body it's a system where if you introduce something drastically, you might end up creating other issues which were not there initially. So yeah, make sure you introduce more hours progressively. Okay, one other thing that is very important. You know, some people think they're fasting. Meanwhile, during their fasting window, they took a biscuit, they drank yogurt, they put honey in their tea or in their coffee, Some people even eat a fruit thinking they're fasting. Please note, immediately after you take anything that is not, that has any calorie, you have broken your fast. Meaning your body is basically not burning fat. So make sure when you're fasting, during your fasting window, the only thing you are allowed to take in is water, pure water, a lot of water, and tea, black tea, black coffee. Do not include milk. Do not add anything. Basically, you're only allowed to eat 0-calorie beverages, which is, like I mentioned, tea and coffee. And when it comes to tea, please, you can take any type of tea. You can take chamomile tea, you can take green tea, you can take the ordinary tea. It's okay, as long as it does not have sugar, it does not have honey or nothing like that. For those who are very keen on losing weight like myself, make sure during your fasting and during your this fasting, or when you're taking your diet, ensure you do not take sugars, dairy, what else? Anything processed. Just try to minimize that so that you can burn as much fat as possible. Basically, what you want to do is to reduce the amount of calorie that you allow into your body. Okay, another thing that I want to mention about intermittent fasting is something that is mentioned by people who are well into the intermittent fasting. They have learned a lot, and they call it autophagy. Autophagy is very good because it is basically where your system, your body, gets rid of damaged cells and begins to regenerate newer and healthier cells in your body. Meaning any damaged cells, meaning all these damaged cells are gotten rid of, and the newer cells begin to, they because they have been regenerated in your body, you notice a difference. You start to glow, your body, you become fresh, you have more clarity of mind. I mean, there are so many advantages of autophagy. It's very important. Please note, autophagy does not happen just by fasting for 16 hours or 20 hours or 18 hours. Study shows autophagy takes place after 72 hours or 96 hours, again depending on your metabolism. So please note, the breaking down or the getting rid of damaged cells and the regeneration of newer and healthier cells begins after 72 to 96 hours, meaning a good 3 days. That's when you begin to, autophagy begins to autophagy begins in your body. Yeah, that is very important. It's very good. If you're someone that you feel your body, all of a sudden you feel you're tired, your mind is not clear, you forget things, people who have problems with their brain, memory loss, such things, please, intermittent fasting is important if you're in good condition, if you're healthy. Please note, intermittent fasting is not advisable for younger people who are below 18 years. Autophagy is not good for people who have critical diseases. It's not good for people who have things like diabetes. This is just not good for such people. There are people who use it, but I prefer you go back to your doctor and ask for advice. But for breastfeeding mothers, for pregnant mothers, kids under 18 years, please, intermittent fasting is not good for you. And if you have diabetes or any other chronic disease, please make sure to talk with your doctor. But from my research and from what I have learned, it's not good for people with chronic diseases, breastfeeding mothers, pregnant mothers, younger kids 18 and below. No, but just seek advice before you do it. You can, maybe your doctor can allow you to do a shorter period of fasting. I don't know, but for sure, after my research, it's not good for those kinds of people. Another thing, or like I mentioned, by the way, when fasting only begins after 12 to 14 hours. So don't convince yourself that you have fasted CG 10 hours, CG 11 hours, or even 12 or 13 hours or 14 hours. It depends with your metabolism. Just make sure, because you know yourself, make sure that you give yourself enough window of fasting so that at least your body burns fat every day effectively, which is very good. Another word that is mostly used is the word plateau. Unfortunately, even if you're doing intermittent fasting, there comes a time when your body just basically stops burning fat. And in such cases, I have learned personally that when you're doing intermittent fasting and you realize that you reach a place where you have hit a plateau, you're not losing weight anymore, any longer, please ensure that you observe yourself. What have you been doing and what can you do different? There are people who actually need to reduce maybe the calories, the amount of calories they take in. You reduce that. If you're someone, maybe you have been taking during breakfast, you have been taking a cereal which has a lot of calories, you can reduce that. If you have been eating other things, any processed food, you can try and reduce that so that your body is activated to begin to start burning fat. Another thing you can incorporate, but this depends on how much time you're fasting. Another thing you can incorporate is exercise. You can do some walking, you can do some jogging. Just find something that is conducive for your body, because again, do not forget, your body is using a lot of energy to burn fat in your body when you're fasting. And because during this fasting period, basically what you're taking is water, you might not have enough energy to go to the gym and work out for 2 hours. So only workout, include exercises that are conducive and advisable for your body during that period of time when you're fasting. Yeah, so your body can actually hit a plateau and you're fasting over and over again, and you go to the weighing scale, you find, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything right, I'm eating healthy foods, I'm eating a balanced diet, I'm taking water, I'm not taking I have not done anything different, and yet I'm not losing weight. It could only mean there's something that you're not doing right. So try and look at yourself, analyze what you have been doing, and then do something different, which mostly is to reduce calories and again to do some exercise. Yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about today is about the benefits of fasting. Oh my gosh, the benefits of fasting. If you're healthy and you don't have any conditions in your body and you do it right and you eat healthy and you avoid sugary stuff and processed foods and all the other things that contribute to basically anything that causes you to add weight. If you reduce that and you do intermittent fasting, my God, your body will burn fat. You will be shocked. Actually, in my next video, I want to tell you how much weight I have lost in a very short period of time, and I'm extremely shocked. Anyway, yeah, so benefits of fasting. One, of course, is weight loss, because it burns a lot. It burns fat during that period when you're fasting. Another thing is reduction in the risk of some diseases, like I mentioned, diabetes. Another thing, obesity, just diseases that attack you, it actually reduces it. Because remember, it gets rid of bad cells, introduces new cells. Another thing fasting does, it reduces your sugar levels, so it reduces the possibility of getting things like high blood pressure, hypertension, all these diseases that are caused mostly by high sugar levels. Another thing, it helps to give you clarity of mind, sharpness of mind, a good memory. Like I was saying, someone called me. It interfered with the video. Another thing it does is it what was I saying? Yeah, it gives you clarity of mind. It sharpens your memory. It just makes your body, it renews your body in general. So you become more active, you become more sharp, you become more attentive. Even in class, if you're someone who's studying, you will realize you're able to understand and like grasp a lot of things that you're taught or you're trying to learn. It just makes you sharper, which is very good, and it sharpens your memory as well. How exciting is that? Another thing is it triggers autophagy, which is the getting rid of damaged cells, and it starts to regenerate new cells. Yeah. What else? There's so many advantages of fasting if they're done right and if you're in good condition. So my advice is, just make sure before you start intermittent fasting, make sure your body is well and able to stand intermittent fasting, because again, it also has its disadvantages. Oh, one last thing. Fasting reduces stress levels. Ask me how. There's this hormone in the body, the cortisol hormone, which is a stress hormone. Once your cortisol levels are higher, they tend to cause you to have so much stress. So they increase your stress levels. It's a stress hormone. So fasting stabilizes cortisol levels, meaning this hormone is regulated, it is stabilized or reduced or managed by fasting. That way, you're able to, become more, emotionally, you become more, you become better, you become more emotionally stable. You don't end up in depression over, how life is. Sometimes things can cause you to fall into depression or have so much stress in a very short period of time, or progressively. So fasting, it stabilizes cortisol levels, and therefore you're able to have a calm spirit. You're able to relax. It relaxes your body and mind. And in fact, that is one of the things that I love most about intermittent fasting, apart from losing weight. It really stabilizes your mind, and you become zen. You become at ease. You're not stressed. You're not overly stressed. You're just able to contain yourself in whichever situation. And I really love that. Yeah, so anyway, that is it for now. That is what I wanted to share today. I hope you have learned something, and I hope this will trigger some of you to join me in this journey of weight loss and self-care and better and healthy habits of living. Yeah, so that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please, if this is your first time, if you're watching me for the first time, join this community that you're trying to create. Join us and be part of this team. Subscribe in the subscribe button. Please note that it is free. to subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. It's not a subscription like for Safaricom or any other thing. No, it's free subscription, and you get to learn a lot. And apart from that, I also want to make friends. Yeah, so please feel free to subscribe. That is it for today. Remember to always put God first in everything, and everything will work according to God's will. So yeah, bye.